Hello, and welcome to Synology 2022. I'm William, and thank you for joining me today for our cloud session. I'm very excited to share with you our latest updates across our C2 services. But before that, Synology entered the cloud infrastructure and services market a few years ago because we know how important it is to combine different architectures to make things easy to use. We started with C2 Storage, providing our users a dedicated and secure remote backup destination and, later, hybrid cloud storage for their Synology devices, which you may check out for more details in our backup and collaborate sessions. C2 Storage was simple to use, well integrated with DSM, and packed with features that our customers wanted, such as client-side encryption, and is extremely accessible with transparent pricing. So it is almost no surprise that the service is growing considerably. On average, a subscriber is now purchasing 70% larger plans than before. And overall, we're seeing an impressive 40% YOY increase in the number of subscriptions. Earlier this year, we introduced our suite of C2 services. As you will see, we designed them to address those IT challenges today or tomorrow. We'll first go over our C2 transfer service, which helps solve an old problem of data security and human nature. Simply said, C2 transfer helps you and your teams keep file transfer extremely safe and private, while still being convenient and easy enough for anyone. Let's directly start a demonstration to show how it works and why it is beneficial. In our C2 transfer user interface, let's say we're getting the paperwork done for a new employee, and our HR team is going to send them their contract information. We will upload the document, which may include personal information and details that we would like to keep mostly private. You will get to add content protection options, such as limiting the amount of downloads, adding watermarks, and of course, setting the expiration date. These don't really apply to what we're doing in our scenario, so we will just move on. We will just need to input the recipient's email or phone number, and you can add multiple ones here if needed. Once we create the link, this can now be safely shared across even insecure channels, because the link itself doesn't grant you access to the files. When the recipient gets the link, they will need to go through a simple verification process, which verifies their identity. With a one-time password, only then will they be able to download the file. C2 transfer greatly reduces the issue of accidentally sending shared links to the wrong person, or if they were intercepted by another party. Together with content protection tools, C2 transfer gives you a simple-to-use but secure way of sending or even receiving files. And for ITs, it's much simpler to track and manage than if your employees were to use cloud storage accounts or instant messengers. But what about the security of the service itself? When we're uploading the file to C2, the file is first encrypted locally using again, locally generated AES-256 key. The data is then sent over the internet to C2 servers, which is of course done so over HTTPS. The encrypted data is stored on the C2 servers, which is not able to decrypt it and therefore knows nothing about its contents. For the recipients to be able to download the file and decrypt it, the transfer key is embedded in the link you share. However, for the recipient to actually be able to download the file, they must go through the identity validation process we previously demonstrated. Only then will encrypted data be streamed to them, where it will be decrypted locally. During this entire process, the C2 servers never touch the transfer key, ensuring data confidentially by only processing data in encrypted forms. And the reverse. When collecting or receiving files, is protected in a similar manner. C2 Transfer enables organizations and teams to easily and securely send and receive files externally, ensuring that the data is fully encrypted end-to-end and that the recipient is who they want to send it to. As a new service, we're only going to be ramping up improvements we make to C2 Transfer. Up next are two features to further help improve security and productivity. Transfer policies enable teams to have predefined settings that can be applied to all tasks. This not only saves time, but can help keep things more secure as we might, for example, forget to apply certain settings. And we will also be introducing file libraries. This enables you to repeatedly share the same files on C2 Transfer with different recipients. This makes it very useful for frequently sent files, such as centralized contracts or agreements, identity information, and more. File libraries cut down on the need to distribute these documents to multiple employees and instead keeps it nice and tidy in a centralized location. That about wraps up what we have for C2 Transfer. So let's move on to another important solution we recently introduced, C2 Backup. C2 Backup is designed specifically to provide you a simple way to backup and restore each device, while being simple to deploy and monitor. C2 Backup protects all your Windows devices and is powered by similar technology as our on-premises solutions, meaning you will get the same comprehensive coverage for each device. All data, applications, settings, and more. All are backed up to your C2 account and easily restorable. It will also be efficient with block-level incremental backup technology, and it is pretty simple. Let's take a look at how effortless it is. So we will first start in the C2 Backup portal. All we need to do to set up a new device is to download the backup agent. Let it install. We will speed this process up a bit. And then log in using our C2 credentials. And that is really it to start protecting your computer. The whole system will be protected, including your files, settings, and operating system. For customized settings, you can of course set up different policies on the C2 Backup portal, such as specific volumes, the frequency, and of course, how many or how long should we keep these backups? Simple, huh? Restoring is also a breeze. Let's say your laptop is broken down and needs to be replaced. To restore it on the brand new device, we will need to create a recovery drive. The process is fairly simple. Just download and install our Recovery Media Creator and a freely available Windows Assessment and Deployment Kit, and you will be set. Once that's been created, we will need to boot from it on the replacement device. You will be greeted by a simple wizard where you will only need to, again, log in through your C2 credentials. After that, select the backup you need and the recovery wizard will do the rest. Now performing a full restoration will take some time, so in the meantime, it might be great to pull some of the files that we were previously working on. C2 Backup provides not just bare metal backup and restoration capabilities, but also a recovery portal for you to conveniently pull files or folders. As you can see, let's again navigate to our device. We will get a convenient timeline of the backups we have available. In most cases, you will want to pick the most recent one, unless it is to recover a deleted or perhaps corrupted file. Then we will find the files we want and directly download it. C2 Backup is extremely simple to use and with no hardware maintenance needed. It's ideal for home or businesses with limited IT personnel, especially for teams with distributed or remote employees. As the backups are all sent or retrieved from our C2 servers, There's no bandwidth constraint to run into compared to on-premises solutions, which you will likely see when trying to perform large amounts of device backups over VPN. But C2 Backup can also protect more than just Windows devices. If you're using Microsoft 365 as your email provider, C2 Backup can also help you protect those. And we will be expanding the number of services covered in the future. Let's take a look at how easy it is to back up Microsoft 365 and recover data through C2 Backup. To start protecting Microsoft 365 user accounts with C2 Backup, click on Add Task in the Cloud tab. Then click on Microsoft 365 to be redirected to Microsoft's login page. Once you are there, sign in with your admin account and grant access to C2 Backup by clicking on Accept. Now that the connection between the two services is established, click on Add User to select the account you want to protect. When you are done, click on Next. Double-check the backup policy that will be applied to the new users. You can also enable auto protection to have new Microsoft 365 accounts added automatically to this backup task. Click on OK to confirm. Recovery is also extremely intuitive. Here's a typical scenario. An important email has disappeared from the inbox of one of your organization's employees. To save their day, click on Restore to access the online recovery portal. After typing in your encryption key to decrypt the data, browse the backups from the version panel on the right and locate the missing email. Click on Restore Selected Email, edit the restoration settings, and click on Restore. The restored email will reappear in the employee's inbox shortly. And how do we keep your data safe? C2 Backup is again designed with full end-to-end encryption, which means that only you have access to your backups and the data inside. Before any data is sent to our servers, all of it is encrypted locally using AES-256. Everything is sent securely to our servers and remains there in an encrypted state. Access to the data is only possible if you have the encryption key, which you input and remains on your local browser. It's never sent to Synology. This ensures all data remains completely private and secure. Only you have the key, and only you can determine who can access it. And we're just getting started with C2 Backup. We will soon be introducing expanded support for more platforms, in addition to supporting more Microsoft 365 services. There will be support to macOS coming soon. We make C2 Backup with simple to calculate and understand pricing. Purchase only the amount of storage you need and have no need to worry about the number of devices, bandwidth use, or any retrieval costs. Just one flat transparent pricing. Moving on from backups and into management, we have C2 Identity. As you will notice by now, the theme to our C2 solutions is how they address a new distributed workplace. And C2 Identity tackles device and account management. C2 Identity is our take on cloud-powered centralized directory and identity management service. One single console, accessible anywhere, is used to manage all users and devices, no matter where they're at. C2 Identity works well with teams using Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace, enabling you to quickly provision and onboard new employees. Using C2 Identity, we can quickly set up access rights for teams or departments that use the same cloud service account. A typical scenario being a common service mailbox or cloud storage repository. Start off by clicking on Group in the panel on the left, under User Management. Then pick the group for which you want to enable device permission and Microsoft 365 access. Remember to double-check its members. You don't want to grant access to unauthorized users. Then head up to the Manage Device tab to select the devices you want to grant permission for them. Then they will be able to log in to the devices with the C2 Identity account. And then head to the Application tab. Click on Assign App to select the Microsoft 365 account you want to enable access for, and click on OK. Now, all members need to do is type in the Microsoft 365 shared account email. After being redirected to C2 Identity's login page, they can sign in with your C2 Identity account. And then they log into the shared Microsoft 365 account. If a member leaves the organization, simply delete the user account under User. The others can continue to sign in with their own C2 Identity credentials. This eases the burden on IT staff, which won't need to change the password of the devices and shared Microsoft 365 accounts every time an employee leaves the company. C2 Identity also works great with LDAP-compatible on-premises devices and services. You can deploy local LDAP nodes through an existing Synology device or via Docker on any server. This unique hybrid approach is great for providing authentication to intranet services that are blocked off from direct intranet access, while also giving you low latency and offline-capable authentication. I believe that almost sounds like a broken record now, but C2 Identity, like our other C2 services, is designed again for maximum privacy and security. Core to C2 Identity is actually what we call a zero-knowledge architecture. This means while we're able to store, process, and even authenticate other services for you, using those very same credentials, the system, our C2 servers, actually does not know your passwords. And this is done through the use of the Secure Remote Password Protocol, or SRP for short. SRP is a secure password protocol that works without passing password equivalent data to and from our servers. What this means is that not only is this able to prevent interception attacks, but in the worst case scenario of a breach, the data that can be retrieved from our servers is completely useless. Simply put, C2 does not and will not know your passwords, even if we can store and process them. C2 Identity has begun to roll out to select customers earlier this quarter, and we have many new exciting features already planned for it. On the list are expanded SSO support with SAML and OIDC protocol support. This opens up C2 Identity to better support the services out there that supports third-party authentications. But we're also adding in a password-based sign-in solution. This option leverages a password manager-like solution to emulate the simple one-click login you get with SSO logins, but even for apps or services that doesn't support it. We will also be expanding our device management capabilities, bringing custom script support that can help with installing software, performance system maintenance, and more. We'll be also adding in remote device power cycling, locking, and full device wiping capabilities, should the need arise. And finally, as we expect many teams will be leveraging a few of our solutions together, C2 Identity will be able to provision accounts usage for C2 backup and C2 transfer, making everything extremely consolidated and simple for IT teams. Now, all the C2 Identity features we just went through are mainly designed for teams and businesses. But that doesn't mean we're forgetting about home users or individuals. C2 Password, which was released earlier this year, is our password management solution designed for anyone. For the majority of us that don't have photographic memory, remembering passwords is honestly hard, especially for accounts and services that you really don't use all that often. C2 Password can help you not only manage passwords, but also makes it easy for you to keep good password habits, such as having a unique set for each and every account. Best yet, they can be as long or complex as whatever the requirements are, because you don't need to remember it. Hey, it's almost like password-based SSO experience we'll just talk about coming soon to C2 Identity. Opening up the Vault, we can see that you can store all types of information, from credentials, bank accounts, credit cards, and more. Let's say we're finally heading out for a well-deserved vacation. You will likely visit a hotel and flight booking service. If we saved our information previously on C2 Password, it will be super simple to log in. But not only that, let's say we're flying out and need to fill in some identification information. C2 Password can do all of that for you. And finally, when you are going to pay for it, C2 Password is able to fill in your credit card information as well. C2 Password stores all the credentials you need, no device limits, and it also comes with the secure file storage and sharing. But for what, you might ask? You can also safely store other sensitive or important data in your C2 Password account, such as banking information, copies of your ID cards or passports, and other documents that you will want a copy of, but in an encrypted and protected manner. Like other C2 services, C2 Password will only get better with time, with the introduction of the mobile apps for it, and support for shared vaults so that families or even teams can share secure accounts easily. And C2 Password will remain entirely free for individuals. As mentioned, there's effectively no limitations to how you use it or on how many devices you have. We will be introducing a Plus plan, where in addition to the same features, you will be able to securely share passwords between 6 user accounts. This makes it great for families or smaller teams. And best of all, it's only $4.99 for the entire year. The theme of C2 is security, and I promise it should be one of the last times you will hear this today. But C2 Password is built to be, yes, secure and private. It employs many of the same technologies and secure protocols we use in other C2 products, all to keep your data accessible only to yourself. C2 Password by itself operates in a relatively simple fashion using SRP. So let's take a quick look at how secure sharing works. Let's say in your team you have a shared business credit card. You want to share it with your colleague to authorize an online purchase, but don't really want to type it out through unsafe methods. C2 Password enables you to share this securely with your colleague, by which the C2 Password extension will then handle the inputting. In the first step, we of course need to be in the safe shared vault. When your colleague joins you, you will receive a newly generated public key from them. All data is then encrypted first with a locally generated AES-256 key. That key is then encrypted using the public key that was received. The encrypted data and encrypted key are then passed to C2 in a secure way. And when your colleague accesses the shared payment information, their browser will locally decrypt the data using their private key that only they have. This ensures maximum security, while also reducing the places where interception or data breaches can potentially compromise your data, even for shared items. Now, all that talk about security and privacy wouldn't be helpful if our services aren't accessible to you. First, All of Synology's C2 services built on extremely reliable foundations using erasure coding techniques. In our current configuration, each service is set up to sustain at a minimum of 4 entire server nodes failures without any downtime. C2 services also give you full control in where you want your data stored, in Europe, North America, or in Asia. Across all our new services, there are pricing plans that suit any team, or free ones in C2 Identity or C2 Password that deliver exceptional features. All comes with extended 90 days trial periods right now, so definitely give them a try to see if they work for you. Synology is pushing for not just in on-premises solutions, but also in cloud ones. It's not a surprise that different challenges require different solutions, and there's really no one-size-fits-all approach to IT requirements for different teams, businesses, or even individuals. We're not just bringing our decades of storage and data management expertise into this exciting new market, but also our core values of security, reliability, and being extremely accessible and cost-effective for anyone. Thank you for joining me today as we've gone through our secure and private cloud services. And be sure to check out our other Synology 2022 videos. Take care.